can't remember anything. I did this question just yesterday. What is it? What is it? What is it? What is it? I am Astrid Nelvita, the Maths Mentor, here to help you pass your next maths exam. Don't you just hate it when you've spent so much time studying only to get into the exam and completely blank out? Here are a few things that you can do to avoid mind blanks in maths exams. Tip number 1. Do not try to memorize how to do every single question. As soon as you go into the exam room with all the stress and the anxiety, you're going to instantly forget. Instead, understand the concepts and the working will come naturally. Understanding the concepts means that you should know why each line of working exists. If the reasoning for your line of working is because the teacher told me to do it that way or because the textbook says so, it's not good enough. There should be a legitimate reason for each line of working. If you have a hard time understanding concepts in maths, ask more questions in class or get yourself a professional maths mentor. I mean, you can always try and brute force your way through your studies, trying to memorize every line of working for every different type of question, and then sincerely hope that you remember everything while you're in the exam. But in my opinion, that is a very painful way of doing exams. Don't forget, you also have other subjects to study for, apart from maths. Imagine the amount of brain power you would need to try and memorize everything for every subject. Not a very smart way of studying, I think. Tip number 2 that I have for you is to do all different types of questions. Many students that I've taught over the years are afraid that the questions in the exam are going to be different from the questions in the textbook. All you need to do is do as many different types of questions as possible so that the probability of facing an unfamiliar question becomes almost zero. Doing chapter reviews are good, but doing past papers are the best because it is highly likely that the questions are going to be very similar. If you don't have access to past papers from your own school, try and find past papers from other schools. The website www.boardofstudies.org is quite a good resource for this. I'll link it in the description below for you. Tip number 3, break down the question. A lot of students confuse being overwhelmed with having mind blanks. This usually happens when the question is rather long and have many parts to it. Students will then get overwhelmed, not sure where to start, and as a result, not start at all. And it's such a shame when this happens because when they get their exam back, they realize they can actually do it, and it's usually worth a lot of marks too. My advice to you when this happens is to break down the question. Do the parts you can do first. Even if it's just listing the facts and information at the top of your page, might get the ball rolling. Once you've done the parts that you can do, hopefully the rest will fall into place like a jigsaw puzzle. Tip number 4, get a full night's sleep. You can't expect to be at your best if you don't look after your body. Studies have shown that memory formation occurs in sleep, so if you do want to remember more, sleep more. Like this video if you love your sleep. I know I do. If you're the type of student who crams your studies until the early hours of the morning, I've got bad news for you. You're not going to remember anything from your cram session in the exam. I'd rather you cut your studies short and get a full night's sleep. And that brings me to tip number 5. Don't cram your studies. What you should be doing is do a little bit of practice every day leading up to the exam. I have included a free checklist for you to download in the description below to help you prepare for your next maths exam. The checklist starts from 2 weeks prior of the exam, which is roughly the amount of time you'll have from when you get your exam notification, up until the day of the exam, of things you can do to really set yourself up for success. Let's review the 5 ways of avoiding mind blanks in maths exams. Number 1, learn concepts, don't memorize. Number 2, practice a variety of questions. Number 3, if the question looks long and scary, break it down into bite-sized parts. Number 4, sleep like a baby. And number 5, do a little bit of practice every day leading up to the exam. Download the free checklist in the description below. Comment below with how you avoid mind blanks in exams. My next video in the How to Study Maths playlist will be on how to not run out of time in maths exams. Make sure you're subscribed to get notified as soon as it comes out. If you are ready to work with a maths mentor, visit my website www.astridthemathsmentor.com to see if you are eligible for my services. See you in the next video.